Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Alexis Ware. In this week's news, couple in the gravel-themed microbrewery, Wild Turkey causes crash that claims a man's life, and a joint meeting on pot business set for April 16th.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Oxford Village Council and Planning Commission held a joint meeting on April 16th about whether to allow marijuana businesses in the Oxford Village. Council previously voted to send the issue for review and recommendations. Oxford Village President Joe Frost said he was excited about the meeting because he looked forward to working with some of the new planning commissioners. Complete outcome of the joint meeting will be available at an upcoming OCTV news broadcast.
Oxford Township voters may go to polls in August. At the April 10th Oxford Township meeting, ballot language for 2 mileage proposals were discussed, 1 mileage for the Parks and Recreation Department and 1 for law enforcement services. Both proposals are renewals with increase of less than 0.2 of a mil. 1 mil is $1 for every $1,000 of a property's value taxable value. The results on the meeting will be reported as soon as they are released.
Pastor Jesse Holt wants to help orphans in Kenya. Lake Point Community Church and Boulevard Boutique are teaming up to raise money for orphans at the My Mariah Children's Home. They are sponsoring a mother and daughter fashion show and fundraiser on Thursday, May 2nd at the Boulder Point Golf Club. Tickets for the event are only $35 each, and the price includes dinner, dessert, vendors, and a 50-50 raffle and a silent auction. Boulevard Boutique will provide all the clothes, accessories, and
Courtney Haught is conquering her fears and medical conditions. She has been riding horses and healing at Banbury Cross Therapeutic Equestrian Center. Haught suffers from functional neurological disorder. This causes her to have psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. Haught will be honored as this year's Star Student Rider event at Banbury Cross during the 29th Annual Derby Day Celebration fundraiser on May 4th.
A 70-year-old Addison Township man died after colliding with a wild turkey while the man was riding his motorcycle. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office said Norman Linto was riding his motorcycle when he encountered a group of wild turkeys starting to cross the road. As Linto approached the birds, one attempted to fly and struck him as he passed, causing Linto to lose control of the motorcycle and hitting a guardrail.
Since 1983, April has been recognized as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Addison Township trustee voted on March 18th to recognize the month for its awareness and opportunities. To help raise awareness, people are encouraged to make a pinwheel garden in their home or office and share the statistic that 1 in 10 experiences child abuse.
A new microbrewery is coming to downtown Oxford this summer by longtime Oxford Village residents Tom and Teresa Robel. The brewery plans to make craft beers, wines, and ciders and will serve customers in a 99-person tap room. Customers can also play shuffleboard, darts, and cornhole to play.
The Friends of the Addison Public Library are hosting 2 fundraisers this month to benefit a new library building. Renowned ragtime, jazz, and boogie-woogie pianist Bob Milne will pay the library a visit on May 16th for a concert. Milne's show will take place on May 16th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at eventbrite.com and cost $20. All proceeds will go toward a new library.
I don't know if you've ever been to our library.
Once.
Yeah. Beautiful library.
It is. The front is amazing. It has like the little fish tank in front.
Right. And I'll tell you what, this boogie woogie thing is going to really bring that place alive.
I'm interested to see it, honestly.
Really will. The other thing I want to mention is that caution, you motorcycle riders out there like to patrol around with your motorcycles, be careful. The birds are out this time of the year. They think it's spring, and then it snows, and they hide, and then they come back again, don't they?
Yeah, it's
They keep
Michigan
returning.
weather.
Michigan weather. Who
Yeah.
knows? It did snow yesterday, so here we go again. It's springtime.
It may. It's supposed to snow a
Right.
few times this week.
Right. Very dangerous on motorcycles if you don't wear your helmet. Again, that's a dangerous thing. I think you probably should reconsider, even though it's not a state law to wear it. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
so
my
be
feeling
on the
about
lookout.
Yeah.
And I'm Alexis Ware, and that's Oxford News for this week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader, or better yet, you can check us out on our website at occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course, your regular cable channel, Spectrum 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with school sports and schooling around, incorporating great topics with none other than Alexis Ware. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Alexis Ware. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, 4 million cases of childhood asthma globally could be attributable to nitrogen oxide from traffic pollution every year. Pollution from vehicles may damage airways, leading to inflammation and the development of asthma in children who are genetically predisposed to the condition. Although it isn't certain which pollutant is responsible, previous research has suggested that exposure to NO2 is key, and traffic emissions can contribute up to 80% of ambient NO2 in cities. Ploy Achakulawicit at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. looked at global data on NO2 concentration and asthma rates to estimate the number of new cases in children between the ages of 1 and 18 that could be related to traffic pollution. Out of the 194 countries, they found that the UK had 24th highest proportion of new asthma cases that could be attributable to traffic pollution. This related to 23% in Manchester and 29% in London. South Korea topped the list with nearly 1/3 of new diagnoses linked to NO2 exposure. The US was 25th position and India was 58th. The team found that 92% of cases of childhood asthma attributable to exposure to traffic pollution occurred in areas where the average NO2 concentrations below the World Health Organization guidelines of 21 parts per billion. Our findings suggest that the WHO guideline for an annual average of NO2 concentrations might need to be revised, and that traffic emissions should be a target to mitigate exposures, says team member Susan Annenberg at George Washington University. Policy changes can help improve traffic-related air pollution, says Achakulawicit. Recent examples include Shenzhen's electrification of its entire bus fleet and London's ultra-low emission zone congestion charges, she says. And in our next story, we have peered into the abyss for the first time. The Event Horizon Telescope, or EHT, which uses a network of telescopes around the globe to turn all of Earth into an enormous radio telescope, has taken the first direct image of a black hole. The light that makes up the image is not coming from the black hole. Black holes do not emit any light, hence the name. Instead, the image shows the black hole silhouette against a background of hot, glowing matter that is being inexorably pulled in by its powerful gravity. In 2017, the 8 telescopes of the EHT collaboration observed 2 supermassive black holes, one at the center of our galaxy, which is called Sagittarius A, and the much larger behemoth at the center of another galaxy called M87. This image shows the black hole in M87, which is 55 million light years away. We're looking at a region that we've never looked at before, a region that we cannot really imagine being there, says EHT scientist Heino Fjellke at a press conference in Brussels. It feels like looking at the gates of hell, the end of space and time. M87 is easier to observe because While it is much further away than Sagittarius A, it is also much bigger and it has less material swirling around it. The image may be blurry, but it has an incredible technical feat requiring observations all over the world with very best radio telescopes. We've repurposed the entire Earth as a radio dish. It doesn't get better than that unless we put something on the moon, says Priyamvada Narayanan at Yale University. We are at the limits of our equipment and what we can do. The ring of light around the black hole looks a little lopsided, which is as expected. This comes from a prediction of Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity that the powerful gravitational pull of a black hole will actually bend light around it, making the light skimming the side of the black hole that's rotating towards us appear brighter than the light on the side that's spinning away. Images of the event horizon are particularly important when it comes to testing general relativity, which governs the behavior of science, of gravity that is, and very large objects. We know that it does not mesh with theories of quantum mechanics, which describes the very small and the very edge of a supermassive black hole where gravity is more intense than anywhere else in the universe that we know of, and it's the best place to stress test that disconnect. And this is the first direct evidence that event horizons actually are real. The event horizon is very tantalizing because once something passes the event horizon, it seems like we can't know anything about it, says Natarajan. It is the limit of what is known and what is unknowable. We have been studying black holes for so long that sometimes it's easy to forget that none of us have actually seen one, says Franz Cordova, the director of the National Science Foundation. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of School News. This week, OHS had grade testing as well as PSAT and SAT testing for individual grades. This week continues the trend with M-STEP testing from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. Clear Lake is having their annual Green Team meeting at 4 p.m. and there's a dance conservatory show from 7 until 9 p.m. This Friday, there is no school district-wide because of Good Friday, but there is a Leonard Talent Show at 9:30 a.m. Next week resumes school on the 22nd with Bridges Day School participating in their Spirit Week, and OHS has a district talent show starting at 7 p.m. Tuesday is the Board of Ed meeting at 6:30. This week's meeting will be held at Oxford High School if you would like to attend. Wednesday, the seniors' commencement speaker speech is due, and Thursday is Lakeville Elementary School's Thankful Thursday, and OMS has their World of Dance music event. Wednesday, the seniors' commencement speaker speech is due, and Thursday is Lakeville Elementary School's Thankful Thursday, and OMS has their World of Music event starting at 7 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. If you missed the last Board of Education's meeting, there were a few students who got recognized there from Crossroads for Youth. Take a look.
But I think it is something that pretty much, from this point forward, we'll always have that in our budget that we're going to have to be spending something.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else? Item 8, Human Resources. Mr. Pass.
Nothing new this evening.
Okay. Item 9, Student Services. Okay.
Moving right along.
Item 10, Unscheduled Audience Participation. Are we going to slow this down in case she comes? Is she on her way, or?
The last contact I had with her, she was gonna come tonight to the board meeting, but that was prior to the break. It was tough to get a hold of her to begin with. You know,
Okay.
She worked, so it could have been a change at work, right?
I just want to make sure that we didn't adjourn
Yeah.
and she shows up.
Absolutely. But I know the family very well,
Okay.
so I will make sure,
I want to make sure she gets her diploma.
absolutely, oh, that's guaranteed.
Okay, very good. Unscheduled audience participation. Anybody? No? Shall we? Scheduled activities. Put my glasses on because these are some good ones. We have OVA capstone projects coming up in May. OVA and OSEC commencements, Bridges commencements, high school commencements, all coming up in May. So board members, just double check your calendars, and if you haven't already, we received an email with our gown requests. So for you new board members, make sure you turn that in, or you might get a gown that fits me that Mary might put on. So, oh, okay, there they are. Look at that. See? Not going to adjourn. Hey, Karen.
Hi.
I'm right up front here.
Right in front?
Yep.
Yes.
I think Mr. Cocasetta has something for you.
Let her mom get her phone and stuff out.
Yeah.
You ready?
You're ready.
So under a new line item, unscheduled activities, we're gonna actually go backwards a little bit. And I would like to introduce to everyone Nira Marshall, and congratulations on her diploma through Graduation Alliance.
Congratulations.
Okay.
No problem.
Congratulations. Yay.
Did you get that?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Nira. Well, that's the one time in my life my timing has been perfect. All right.
That was the last Board of Ed meeting. Remember that the next one is on the 23rd and everyone's welcome to attend. And that about does it for this episode of School News. Remember to catch Schooling Around at 11 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. every day. Until next time, I'm Alexis Ware.
What's happening, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright back here once again for this week's sports report. Now that spring break is over, we got to get back to our early spring sports schedules this week. We got a lot to go over, so let's not waste any more time and take a look. First off, the boys baseball team played on the 9th this week. Freshman club facing a doubleheader on the road against Stony Creek, splitting the series with a 7-6 loss and a 14-0 win. The JV team also played on the road, taking on Troy Athens, taking the win 7-2. And the varsity club, we managed to get it out to that game. As cold as it was on that hill, the boys took the win. It was a battle back and forth. 7-5 was the final score. On the flip side, the girls softball team, with their impressive run last year, making program history with a trip to the state playoffs, ending in an outstanding 3rd place finish this season, has 8 returning athletes. This is very good news how good the team was last year. The important games of the season that the team places emphasis on are the away doubleheaders against Lake Orion and Clarkston. The girls will be starting off this season on the road with a doubleheader against Romeo. The boys and girls lacrosse team also is back at it this week as well. The boys taking it to Lapeer on the road with a final of 16-2. The girls team also dominating on the road, taking down Davison 11-1. Very, very dominant set of games for Oxford's lacrosse program this week. Also, the girls tennis team started their first game of the season, taking on Lake Orion. Although they did fall in the match to a final of 5-3. We now await the results of the 2 follow-up games, taking on Royal Oak at home and Farmington Harrison on the road. This year's team is fairly young, mostly full of sophomores and juniors, which tells us we'll be seeing this group of athletes at least for the next few years. And last but certainly not least, the boys track team had their first meet of the season against Lake Orion. Although we did lose the meet 91-37, there was 71 personal records set that day. Last season, the boys qualified several athletes for the state finals. This season, we are looking at a much smaller team in numbers. Expected to be some of the team's leading scorers this year are seniors Sam Murray, Anthony Romeo, and juniors Trey Townsend, Scott Matterson, and Shane Ross. It should be an exciting year. April 27th, we here at OCTV will be covering the annual Elmer Ball Oxford International hosted here in Oxford. 20 schools are already signed up, so we look forward to that. And that's going to just about do it for this week's report. For any more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. There's plenty of game breakdowns, statistics, rosters, and more that can be found right there. That is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's going to do it. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors Chevrolet division will unwrap the next generation Corvette featuring a mid-engine layout for the first time in July. While the car has been photographed undergoing road tests for months, it's the first time Chevrolet has confirmed plans for the next generation of the venerable sports car. GM President Mark Reuss, who also heads up the automaker's global product development programs, posted an image of the 8th generation Corvette, the C8, on his Facebook. Chevrolet said the next generation Corvette will be revealed on July 18, 2019. GM Reuss said is commemorating the 50th anniversary of the launch of the Apollo 11, which entered the moon's gravity on July 18, 1969. 2 days later, astronauts landed on the moon. Chevrolet calls the next generation Corvette the most anticipated Corvette ever. It's the sum of each generation before it, and Chevrolet said, but it will stand alone as the new standard of performance. Chevrolet also released several photos of the next Corvette camouflage driving through New York City with General Motors CEO Mary Barra at the passenger seat. GM said the last 7th generation Corvette, a black 2019 Z06 model, will be auctioned off June 28th to benefit charity. And still at General Motors, that is to say, driver's assistance systems such as Nissan's ProPilot Assist and Tesla's Autopilot continue to proliferate. But General Motors Super Cruise takes the technology to a new level of safety, redundancy, and hands-free capability. GM selected Cadillac to roll out the system on the 2018 CT6. Now it's ready to proliferate. Cadillac hails Super Cruise as the world's first true hands-free driver assistant feature and incorporated a host of cameras, radar, and sensors into the system to enable the vehicle to drive itself on LiDAR-mapped divided highways. The use of mapping and a driver's monitoring system includes a steering console mounted camera allowing drivers to take hands off the wheel, unlike other systems that require drivers to check in by touching the wheel to ensure that they are remaining attentive. Customers can drive hands-free on more than 130,000 miles of limited access freeways in the US and Canada. The system keeps drivers engaged through a light bar on the steering wheel and detects when they may need to pay more attention to the road. GM had been developing Super Cruise for more than 5 years before launching it on a high-end model such as the CT6. The automaker was routinely updating Super Cruise as it begins spreading the system across Cadillac's lineup in 2020. Other brands, if not all of GM's vehicles, are expected to eventually offer the system. And on the recall front, Ford Motor Company is recalling about 327,000 pickups equipped with engine block heaters because cable splice connectors might have been inadvertently damaged during a service procedure for a previous recall and now pose a fire risk. The affected F-150 and Super Duty trucks are a subset of the 874,000 vehicles recalled during a December 2018 recall to fix a wiring problem. So far, there is no immediate fix available. Ford said in a statement that it's aware of a fire in the United States and one in Canada that may be related to a block heater usage following successful completion of the 2018 recall. Ford is also aware of an additional report of fire in Canada, which led to the initial recall last year. There are now about 131,000 affected vehicles in the United States and federalized territories and about 197,000 in Canada being recalled for the second time. Affected vehicles include the 2015 to 2019 Ford F-150 vehicles built at a Dearborn truck plant in Michigan from March 18, 2014 to November 17, 2018, and at Kansas City Assembly Plant from August 21, 2014 to November 17, 2018. And also 2017 to 2019 Ford F-Series Super Duty vehicles built at Ohio Assembly Plant from February 5, 2016 to November 17, 2018 at Kentucky Truck Plant from October 8, 2015 to November 17, 2018. Ford warns a damaged block heater cable can cause an array of problems for the truck's owner. Problems include an inoperative engine block heater, tripping of household breakers or GFCI-equipped outlets, or a resistive short, which can increase the risk of overheated or melted wiring and fire while the vehicle is parked and the block heater is plugged in. Dealers will disable the vehicle's engine block heater cable by cutting off the plug and prongs and sealing the end cap with silicone sealant. Customers will be notified when an engine block replacement cable is available. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.